Let's get back to the Warriors. They have won 3 straight. Again, the Fires are pretty much out, right? They've won 3 straight going into tonight's marquee matchup against the Raptors. I want to read a comment from Klay Thompson to ESPN's Nick Friedel about how special he feels to be part of the Warriors dynasty. Quote, "Guys would trade in their accolades or statistics to come do what we do in a heartbeat. I know it. Guys have told me that before. Not just me, but everyone tries to remind each other of that. This time does not last forever." It's interesting, Brian, because I don't know if he's talking to Nick Friedel there or if he's talking to a couple of members of his own team, because already the conversation, and again, not just with us, but on the Warriors' own bench, apparently, during a game, is what's Kevin Durant going to do in free agency? Was that a reminder to everyone, and is that...
It was a reminder that I don't think Klay Thompson's going anywhere this summer.
I
know some people are kicking around like, boy, what if A, B, and C happens? One of the things that you learn in the NBA, if you spend any time around it, is that every time there's adversity or every time there's a crisis, it's an opportunity. I know that sounds like a cliche thing, but it is true. And ultimately, the Warriors, where their seed is, what their record is in December or November, isn't ultimately important. Yeah. This team has some challenges that they have to work through, and you'd much rather have them work through them now is to having to work through them in May. So I actually kind of could see us sitting here at this desk in March saying, boy, remember when the Warriors were off to that rough start and they lost all those games? Look at how great they are now, and aren't they better off for it? But I think
it would be weird if we weren't doing. I mean, that is what we expect, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that is how it's going to go.
When it comes to adversity, as you mentioned, there's so many cliches, but to me, this got real because the adversity didn't necessarily bring them together. It just sort of took them out of that honeymoon phase where they're always winning. And I think at the end of this experiment this experience where the Warriors lost 4 straight, now they're winning 4 straight, it just showed me that this is Steph Curry's team. Steph Curry is the guy that really makes them go. He's the best bailout package in the sense that when they're down, he can score in a flurry. He also was the best player because when he was playing, he was a leading MVP candidate, averaging about 30 points per game. So not only will you get a bailout when the Warriors aren't playing well with Steph Curry being on the floor, but you also get blowouts because when he plays, you get that instant flurry of threes.
Yeah, and look, Steph has shown his value when he's been hurt as well, because that's when this team fell apart and they had to bring him on the road trip.
Peacekeeper.
Where they knew he wasn't going to play, and they brought him anyway because that's how important he was to putting the pieces back together. I think his MVP campaign in some ways got bolstered by him being hurt. Well, we'll see how he does when he gets back. We know Steph is there long term, though, right? And as you said, I believe Klay when he says that he intends to resign as long as the money is right, and we have to assume the Warriors are going to do that for him. But here's what Finals MVP from back in 2015, Andre Iguodala, told the NBC Sports Bay Area group, quote, "I am going to be done soon. I could probably play a legit 5 more years, but if I'm not here, that will weigh heavily on what I will do. I possibly have another year here if we win. That's it. I know that. I'm fine with that." So we're looking at all the pieces of the Warriors window. What do you see with the Andre Iguodala piece?
This makes sense to me. Andre has been an essential part of their identity as of late, especially with their championships. But getting to know Andre at the Players Tech Summit that Steph hosted, his game has been one thing, but his mind has always been outside of the game as well.
Yes.
He's big into investment, business, and he's the type of guy that won't let his body dictate his career, meaning he wants to be in his prime both on and off the court. So I can see him making moves off the court earlier than his body dictates. Now, again, there's still room for Tony Parker or Vince Carter or the ball out till you fall out type of guys in the NBA. But I feel like Andre Iguodala is the type of guy who sees value off the court as well. Based on being in the Bay Area for such a long time, he's really capitalized on it.
Yeah, he's battled some injuries over the last couple of years that he manages every day. He's gotten to that point in his career where there's certain times where he just got to shut it down. He's an extremely important player for them. I mean, before they were a championship team, they pulled that off in that, really a free agency coup to get him.
Look at what happened during the Western Conference Finals last year.
That's the thing. Like the Rockets talk about
we're a hamstring away.
We're a hamstring away. Well, the Warriors' rebuttal to that is, well, if Iguodala was playing, it wouldn't have got to 7. So he's a really important player for them, and they know that long term they have to replace him, whether it's 1 year or 2 years. When he signed this contract last summer, I guess it was 2 summers ago, I think he knew that was going to be it, and I think even the Warriors
he did that maneuvering. I'm having a meeting with Phoenix, or whatever it was.
Allegedly, we were supposed to be impressed because there was going to be a high-speed rail between Austin and San Antonio or something. That was laughable. But I think even when he signed that contract and the Warriors knew, they knew at the back end of it, they'd be paying him for previous play.
It is interesting. By the way, fallout to Iguodala. You got to add that to your list of phrases.
You got it.
That's pretty good.